it was crazy anyway.
Yeah. Bigger isn't always better.
Not always better. It was cool. It was fancy cool. But I mean, if you watch the show, it was really, really cool. All right, let's do this. Riding steeds. Riding little dusters.
It's close.
Well, Marshall Dillon never had his hat in Kitty's house today. Welcome in to
All Guys and Mike.
Of course, this show is the show designed by, well, three guys that live a life and want to change the world and help people make change before they think they need to make change or even know they want to make change. And we just find the stuff fascinating. And of course, Two Ball Guys and Mike brought to you through the financial support of our. Whoa.
Let's turn the echo down.
Of course, Mike McKay is a professional personal trainer. And, how do people get in touch with you to do what they need to do professionally?
Well, I'm going by carrier pigeon right now. So I'm gonna put one of those out in the front yard a little bit and they can come get a hold of me that way.
That's awesome. So send your carrier pigeons to, look at this. Wait a minute. Who is this guy? Theodore. Is that Ted's older brother? Theodore Legal. Hey, buddy. How are you? Tonight, we're kind of we're continuing our mental detox, right? And we're really talking about executing what we practice.
Absolutely.
And Coach, you and I had a conversation this past week. Wednesday.
Okay.
So yesterday.
It was a long time ago.
Yesterday. There's been a lot going on.
Refresh my mind. I'm old.
And we were talking about you as a business and life coach have helped hundreds of people, and people are quick to make a change. You too, Mike, quick to make a quick change. It works, and then that's it.
And then it goes. It's like
it goes away. Hey, Steph.
The gym on New Year's Day or the day after New Year's Day, there's 800 people. You can't find a parking place, and by January 10th, it's like crickets.
Feels good. It worked. I saw some results. I'm good.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that in the past, several times. Let's face it, life is busy. There are 1,001 distractions today. Today we had plenty of time to get in here and get it set up for the show.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry. And of course, we all come dashing in last second.
Jerry Condon.
Yeah.
So she needs to get on the show. I've talked to her. Jerry's incredible. I like Jerry.
You've really...
I talked to her. I've been on her couch.
I've talked to her too.
She doesn't have a couch.
Yeah,
she doesn't have a couch, but she is a great conversationalist and a great lady.
So how do you, and Jerry, chime in if you want as well. How do you get people to continue or execute what they practice long term?
Well, I think the point is, and this is what I'm going into in my talk on April 12th, is how to change before you have to. How to change before a doctor says take this pill, before a judge says take this class, before your wife says, or else.
Yeah.
Right? How do you make that change? We know we need to make it.
Yep.
We know we need to get in the gym. We know logically, we know that we need to do it.
Yep.
But what keeps us from doing it?
Yep.
The psychologist in the room, or the wannabe psychologist, Mike, what do you think keeps people from carrying through on what they know logically they need to do?
It's either not knowing the real reason why you want to do something or not admitting it, and then keeping it in front of you. I mean, that's most of what if I'm going to motivate somebody, that's the only way to do it, is to find out the reasons why they really want to do whatever their change they're trying to make is, and then keep that in front of them. Because that's it. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to keep doing it for any one of us.
Yeah. What do you say? What do you tell your people?
Just do it. I mean, it gets down to the point. It's and have an accountability partner. One of the things I heard a coach say it. I've often thought it, but I haven't said it in this way. He said, if you're a coach and you don't have a coach, then you don't deserve to be a coach. And what that's saying is we all need a mentor or an accountability partner or somebody to be in this with. We can fool ourselves all day long. We can talk ourselves out of it. I've been doing really good. As a matter of fact, you and I had a conversation in the green room before we came. My blood pressure a year ago, a little over a year ago, was 160 over 100. They wanted to start me on medication. I said, I want to do this naturally. Today, my blood pressure, just had it taken this afternoon, was 113 over 63 through exercise and diet and taking care of myself. Now, I'm feeling really good about this. I have to stop at Costco and get some victuals for the home. And I can tell you, I wanted to celebrate by getting one of them big hot dogs they have there.
Oh yeah, right.
You know,
a buck. It's like
it's $1.50 for a hot dog and a chemically loaded drink.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do we think like that? Now, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say today, but I would have in the past. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Because I've made the commitment to myself and I made the commitment to other people that I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I think it's as simple as that, having someone to hold you accountable for what you have publicly said you need to do.
I like what Theodore says. Theodore says,
Theodore.
fear of the unknown in the change is perhaps why they don't stick to it, right? The fear. Jerry says, I agree. They have to want to change, and the time to put the 10,000 hours in, to make it a habit or become a professional at something, right? That 10,000 hours. What's your take on that?
Fear of the unknown of what?
Of what the change is. You don't know what the change is going to bring.
Of what the change is going to bring.
Yeah.
So like if you're wanting something, so if you're wanting, we're going back to the gym thing. If you want the change that's in there, what would be the fear of the unknown in that case?
Well, in my case, I'm afraid that all these women are going to be chasing me, and I'm currently a happily married man,
right?
And I'm terrified of all these young women in
The good
yoga
news, ladies,
pants.
is you don't got to run very fast. That's
Just make me turn left, and you'll catch me.
all right. So,
but there's a lot of truth to what you're saying, Mike. You know, we just a little bit about it, but that's what is going to happen if I change, if I get this physical structure change, if I get this mental, what's going to happen? I'm comfortable living where I'm at now.
Right.
I'm comfortable in my,
No, not.
But I've talked myself into it.
Right.
You're not. Subconsciously, you're not. And you're an athlete. You were an all-state athlete.
I still am.
A state champion. I was the same way. You and I used to make fun of people who look like us today. How do you let yourself go? How do you let yourself go like that? Jeez. And here we are, right? So it's the same way. So subconsciously, we're like, yeah, I'm fat, sassy, and happy, and I'm okay.
And
Uncle Pete used to say the same thing. I'm shaped like an ice cream cone, but you know what? I'm happy being shaped as an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Terrific. Absolutely. But subconsciously, you're like, I look in the mirror and it's like when I was back in 6th grade at the YMCA in the locker room. There's a naked old man staring at me. Right? When I get out the shower. Looking in the mirror, who is that?
Who let that guy in here?
Right?
His leg is always up on the bench.
Let me just wipe off here. Exactly.
My grandson, who's really starting to sculpt and shape, he's like, Papa, did you have a 6-pack like this? I said, dude, I still have it. It's just insulated.
That's right. I put it in the cooler. So how do you execute what you practice? And here's the deal. To me, you go back to what Yoda said, right? And Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not.
Right? Do or do not. There is no try. You can't try something. We try something and then we stop. I tried to eat green beans, didn't like them. Stop. I tried to adjust my diet, didn't like it. Stop. Right? So you either do or do not. There is no try. So in my course of trying to develop some different habits and change some things in my life, and I'll just use this as an example. Here it is, March 31st. I haven't touched a drop of alcohol 3 months, right? Now, people are like,
any hand sanitizer?
and people are like, hey, that's great. Congratulations. I'm not an alcoholic. I've challenged myself to not drink alcohol this year. Why? It's a mental challenge. I enjoy a beer. I enjoy scotch. I enjoy vodka, whatever. But I never, only 1 week out of the year would I go crazy with it. But really, a casual drinker, right? So again, as I've said on the show, it's a mental challenge for me. All I really wanted to do was see it. Let's push myself and see where we can go with this.
Right.
So you either do or do not. Last night, I went over to the Vixen, great place here in town. Comedy night over there. Some funny fellows. Yep. Went with my good buddy, Scott Giles, and Alice. And Scott orders, a drink. And I'm like, no, I'll take an iced tea. Now, unfortunately for the owners of the Vixen, they don't serve iced tea. So I'm sitting there with one of the owners, and I'm like, boy, I would really like to give your establishment some money, but you don't serve people who aren't drinking alcohol. So I'll just take a water. And we tipped the waitress still for water, right? And it was McHenry water. I don't even know if it was worth a tip, but she was fantastic. She's working, right? I can't blame her. But at no point was I sitting there going, man, and Aaron was there, and Aaron's sipping on an old fashioned, and I'm like, oh, I love old fashions. Have a little conversation. But at no time did I ever really desire a drink last night, right? So I think that you either do or do not. If you try, you know what? I'm going to try it. Let me try these squats. Let me try this. Let me try that. And you'll end up trying and stopping. So either do or do not. I've read 46 books this year. Okay. And and there are places, because of what I'm inputting into my head with these books, now in conversation, some of these concepts are coming out of my mouth because of the books that I've read that wouldn't have come out before. So how do you execute what you practice? You just can't stop practicing, and then it'll just happen, right? What happens is we stop practicing. Mm-hmm. We stop tracking calories, or we stop reading about why I eat how I eat. We stop whatever the case may be, right? Now, I'm not just, so I'm not just not drinking, but I'm going, interesting thing is my bones don't hurt quite so much. There's not so much swelling going on. You're starting to see some things, right? Mm-hmm. I feel pretty good on a Saturday morning, Wow. So I don't think you can actually, the only way you execute what you practice is to just continually practice. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong at all. You just didn't like the song Saturday Morning Confusion. You wanted to get rid of it.
I wanted to get rid of it. Figure out what you like about what you choose to change, and you will stick with it. All right, well, let's go down that road.
Well, and this the concept of the talk I have coming up is change before you have to.
Yep.
And the very first step is about being humble and not thinking you know everything. Mm-hmm. And, the Mac Davis song, "Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble." When we start rising the ladder and we start becoming the person everybody comes to for answers, we think we know everything about everything, not just everything about that subject.
Right.
We know better than that doctor. What does he mean? I don't need to take this pill. I need to do what I need to do. That guy's only had 18,000 years of college and, has seen 18 other fools like me just in the last week, but I know better than he does. Once we can accept the fact that there's a change we need to make, then we can start. As a life coach, when people come to me ready to change, the change is quick, it's amazing, and it's long lasting. When they come to me because their wife, their husband, their mother, their father, their uncle, and Deke sends them to me, they're like, well, I'm just here because Kent told me you could help me do this. Well, I can't help you do anything. I can guide you, but you have to do the work. And when you express the willingness to do the work, and you'll allow me to become the accountability person in your life, then change can happen quickly.
So actually, that's when Coach says,
Mm.
"Listen, I'll just take cash from you."
But
Let's prepay for those. We're gonna prepay for these lessons.
wouldn't
So
that
yeah,
be
so
nice?
figure out what you like about what you choose to change, and you'll stick with it. True or false?
I think that's true. I think that's true. And knowing what you don't want in the change is probably just as important as what you do want. Because getting distracted with the things that that you don't want. So the gym thing, for example, like how many people go into the gym, I know, and then they, eventually they're like, well, I just want to get into shape. I want to get healthy. But then, 3-4 weeks in, they're like, I got to go in, 2 hours a week or 2 hours a day. I got to do this every day, and I got to do all these sets and reps. But they're starting to work out like a bodybuilder, like a professional
Right.
athlete. They don't want to be that. They
No.
just want to be healthy, but yet they're doing all this extra work, and that burns you out too.
Oh yeah.
When what you're doing doesn't align with what you actually want to do. So yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. We have a listener who's confused.
yeah.
Nicole says, "Hi, hello to my 3 favorite boys." Nicole, these are men in this room.
So it's guys, 2 bald guys and Mike.
Okay, it's my guys,
2 bald guys.
Guys.
2 bald guys.
men guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nicole.
Right. So I mean, if we take a look at changing or making a change in your life, does anybody ever come to you guys and go, you know what? I'm really happy with where I'm at. I want to change for the worse.
No, nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "I really want to suck today."
Yeah. Right. Right. I mean, we laugh about it, right? So here's the hard thing with what we do, and why I say if you really want to execute what you practice, you always doctors practice medicine, lawyers practice law, right? Mechanics don't practice mechanicking. I'm a mechanic. A bank teller doesn't practice telling. I'm just a teller. Right.
My wife practices telling.
A business owner doesn't say, I'm practicing marketing. No, you don't. You either do or you do not.
There is no try.
There is no try, right? So when you look at that, we as human beings want to have that change happen immediately, effortlessly, and painlessly.
The easy button,
right? Because I look like this, and it was really easy, effortless, and painless. Right? It took years to get to this look, but the truth of the matter is, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't just wake up and go, I want to be obese and I want to be out of shape, and I don't want to feel like I haven't lost my breath when I tie my shoes.
I can help you with that.
Right. The deal is we got there in time because we practiced being lazy. We practiced eating poorly. We practiced bad decisions. We didn't try bad decisions. We practiced it over and over and over till nauseum. But when I go to make a change, a positive change, I want to do it once, set it, and forget it.
Good point.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. That is not the way to create. That's not the way to deal with a jerk. It's, you can't just walk up on stage and slap. Oh yeah, you can.
If you're Will Smith, you can.
Right? You can't just say, I'm in business now, I'm successful. You have to practice and practice and practice and practice ad nauseum, right? When we're in the gym together, using me again as an example, if I'm doing it incorrectly, you're correcting me so that I can do it correctly. And then we celebrate if I do it correctly, right? But then the next time, if I don't do it correctly, you got it again. Hey, let's, a little more bend here, a little less bend there, and that's what I mean. Changes don't happen. Changes are created. right? I mean, the Grand Canyon, just didn't show up one day.
Right.
Maybe.
Poof.
I wasn't here when it was created, but
I was.
the chances are that the river that runs through it just kept cutting away and cutting away and cutting away and cutting away and cutting away. I don't know how it was created. Maybe that's a bet, right? Making it something repetitive and eventually leads to a habit, good or bad. I agree with you, Kent. Thank you, Theodore.
Theodore. Wasn't
right.
he? Never mind.
He was one of the chipmunks.
I wasn't going to
It's
go
actually
there.
it's actually my father-in-law's name too, and my son's middle name. So I don't ever make fun of Theodore. So there you go.
I wouldn't either. Ted's an amazing guy.
So to execute the change that's coming down, right? We really have to what? You have to create fear for yourself. Yeah. Because here's why. To your point, Coach, earlier, you need to change your diet or you're going to die. Whoops. I like living better than dying, I think. I'm going to change my diet.
I haven't tried dying yet, but
Really?
I think I like living better than dying. But here's the problem. My thought process is fear creates conflict. Conflict creates cortisol. Cortisol limits creative thinking. So when we're doing it from fear, we only have one option.
Yeah.
But when we can internalize it, accept it as a goal moving forward, I'm not afraid for my life. I'm looking forward to my health. And I can do it from a positive standpoint. Now I'm going to be more creative in my approach to achieving it. Because if it's fear, now think of a manager who's he's a stern taskmaster. Yep. And what happens when the manager goes on vacation? There's a party in the break room. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Nothing gets done. Yep. He's got to come back. He's going to be mad anyway. Who cares? Let him be mad at something. But when a good leader goes on vacation and the people love their leader, they work harder when he's gone because they're happy.
They do the same.
I've experienced it. And I think it's the same thing. When we focus only on driving our change through fear, then it's limited. It's only going to limit it until the fear goes away. I'm afraid if I stay at this weight, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to die. I need to be at this weight. You get down to that weight, the fear is gone. And the next thing you know, you're right back to that weight again.
No, I don't think the fear is gone. I think the fear is still there. I can't balloon back up because if I do, I'm going to die. I mean, death's a pretty good motivator for a lot of people, right? But here's the deal. Again, as a human, we want it effortlessly. We want it painless, right? And we want it now.
Yeah, we want liposuction. We want to get rid of it.
So, I mean, just take a look at Hollywood and look how many women looks like their face have melted, right? Because of, I can't get a role because I got to look young. Well, you look like a candle burning for hours, honey.
The fake Santa Claus on Santa Claus 2.
So the bottom line is, we're either in the relationship or whatever because we felt comfortable, and we've learned to accept that reality, right? So if we take an abusive relationship, let's say, and we want to change that abusive relationship, guess what I do? Hey, you know what, Mike? We're through. I'm going to come over to Coach, who's going to treat me the exact same way.
Yeah.
Right.
But I got rid of you. But I'm still in a horrible relationship because it's what I know. It's my comfort level. Right? Now, if someone came up to me and said, hey, Kent, you got to leave Mike or you're going to die. If you have another relationship, and I'm just saying, right? This is what we get to, hey, if you step out on your wife, she's going to leave you. Wait, what? Whoa. Yeah, I don't want that. Right? Is that a fear of losing my wife? Maybe.
Tell me about this statement. Fear is temporary. Love lasts forever. Is that true or false?
I would say true.
Thank you. So you're 2-1, so you may as well just go ahead and say fear is temporary. Love, or whatever word you want.
I don't think fear is temporary.
It's got to be temporary because when you die, fear is gone. And you're living a life, afterlife of love. Love is forever. Fear is temporary. What are we afraid of? We're going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I checked the mortality tables. It's 100%,
So far.
right?
Right.
Except for one.
I don't know if my love continues on when I'm dead. I'm dead.
What does your faith tell you?
Oh,
But that's not this show. We'll go into another show.
that's right. You understand what I'm saying? So,
I do.
So I get it. But if we are trying to make lasting change, or we're trying to help people make lasting change, what is that lasting change? How do you do it? How do you get them to stick with it? Right?
You know me, I feel it's through teaching gratitude and love and being thankful and moving forward. Fear can be the starting pistol at the race. Bam, go. But I think if you're gonna, please silence all cell phones and don't put them in your skin tight jeans.
Yeah, right.
Keep making fun of him as long as it's reading. Go.
Someone, hey, hi, you're live on the air.
But you know where I'm going with this is that fear can be the starting point, but I don't think it's what's going to keep it as a lasting change, because some point the fear will lessen. Some point the fear will start to go away. And when it does, we begin to get complacent. And when you think about all the people you've known over their life who've been on yo-yo diets, down and up, fear took them down,
Right.
Complacency brought them back up. And I don't think it's fear that's going to keep them there, because living in fear constantly, that sounds miserable to me.
But I don't know if fear can save your life.
It might save your life, but it's not going to continue your life. You can't live a life constantly in fear. I got to lose weight or I'm going to die. Now you're going to spend all your time in the gym, as you alluded to earlier. You're going to spend all your time doing things so you don't die. And now you're not living your life because you're living in a
yeah, but if I'm afraid of scorpions, I'm going to run from scorpions.
Right, I get it.
If I decide, oh, fear is no longer there, zip,
I
die.
When the scorpion's no longer in the room, are you afraid of the scorpion?
Sure, you're always afraid of scorpions.
Well, boy, that is a sad way to live. So sorry.
No, I don't think it is. Fear is a great motivator, right?
I'm not disagreeing with you. It's a great motivator, but we can't live in it.
Well, why not?
Because we're living in a world, and we're living in a world that's filled with fear right now, and it's miserable.
Okay, so you said we can't. We are.
We're surviving, but we're not thriving in the life that we want to live.
A lot of people are.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Good right now, right? For a lot of people, right? So, and I understand what you're saying, and that's the way. I mean, you know, the glass is always half full, right? And you may be the glass is always half empty, and I'm like, you got the wrong damn glass.
Yeah, that glass is too tall,
right? You know. So just drink straight from the bottle. Life is better that way. But the idea is, we've lived in fear our whole lives. Mm-hmm. You're afraid to run a stop sign or a red light. You live in fear constantly every day.
Fear. I don't think that's fear. That's just being smart.
What? Because you're afraid of what will happen if you go through that red light. You're either going to get a ticket or somebody's going to T-bone you.
Well, I've been through red lights before, and nothing happened.
Right, but you were anxious when you went through it.
Absolutely,
right? You were scared.
Did I just do that?
So you see what I'm saying? Fear is a great motivator, right?
What we got here looks like we got to go.
Will Smith once said, "Fear lies on the other side of what, or success lies on the other side of
Chris
fear.
Rock."
Of fear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right. Right. So Ted says people are successful at what they do because they do a lot of things they enjoy in their life. Are there difficulties? I'm sure there are, but the things they enjoy outweigh the things they don't. Okay. Those that live in fear don't tend to live long. No, those who live in stress or maybe the fear of fear don't live long. We all live in fear. You're born with fear. The fear of loud noises and the fear of falling.
It's the only two
You're
fears
born with it. You're born with it. You're not born with sunshine, rainbows, and hallelujahs. Think of that. You're born with love. You're born with fear. So love is equally as powerful as fear. It has to be. And you've had it this whole time, your whole life. So if fear wasn't good, why would we be born with it?
It's a survival tool.
Right?
But I mean, we're born with a lot of things, though, inherently that aren't necessarily good, though. I mean, whether we're born with it or not doesn't make it good. I'm kind of falling in between both you guys because I'm seeing both
That's
the
why
sides.
you sit in the middle, Mike.
Yeah, right.
And you have the orange mic.
That's right.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
You got something. Keep it
Yeah,
coming.
come
Keep
on.
it rolling.
What do you got?
Well, like
Agree with me. Go ahead.
I think the fear and the love are both good, but being born with them isn't what it supports the idea that they're both inherently good. There's got to be something else.
Okay, so let me help you guys. Fear is not the same as afraid.
Okay.
Living a life being afraid is a whole different thing than being fearful. Fear the Lord your God.
Right. Right.
Whoa.
Which then is more of
It's
a
context.
respect and fear, right? Which is more
Okay.
right.
So fear perhaps is that respect. I respect my life. I'm going to live in fear that I'm going to die. Right.
Okay.
So
listeners out there, when you hear the word fear, what do you think? What does it put into your mind? Go ahead.
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Fear is real. Fear is what motivates people. Right. Anthony Robbins will say people do things out of fear or pure enjoyment.
Right.
Right. So if those are the two things people do something out of, which one sticks the most? Give me something that you were that you were fearful of, or that you are fearful of, and then give me something you're afraid of. And it's two different anxieties that roll in there, right? When I was held at gunpoint, I was fearful for my life, but I was afraid he was going to pull the trigger. Two different things, right?
What's the physiological response to each of them?
I peed my pants a little. Right? So what does Ted say here? Thanks, Theodore. What does it say? Fear creates stress. Too much stress leads to heart attack. Fear, when used to teach you not to repeat what created that fear, keeps the stress down. That's what you're telling me is living in a state of being afraid. I'm afraid to go out of my house. I'm afraid to talk to a stranger. I'm afraid. Right? That's a whole different chemical zipper than it is having fear.
I'm nervous about it, but I'm nervous about diving off a 3-meter board, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Right.
All right. But I'm afraid of jumping off a 30-foot cliff because I don't know what
I'm going to hit.
All right. I'm starting to
You see what I'm
connect a little bit.
So I think if you want to create that lasting change and practice, or execute what you practice, number one is you always practice. You got to keep practicing it. Hey, I was fearful of getting up in front of a crowd and delivering a speech. I faced that fear and I practiced that speech and I could deliver it. Now, I can still have a fear or be afraid of big crowds, but I conquered a fear.
Yeah.
Right.
But eventually you wanted the fear to not be the driving force in what you're doing any longer.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Fear can be the starting point, but I don't think it's what's going to carry you through to lasting change.
Right.
I think what's going to carry you through to lasting change is you learn to love this new lifestyle. You learn to love the way you feel. Since we've been on this vegetarian all water cleansing fast, I'm sleeping all through the night. That wasn't something I said I'm gonna eat like this and not drink coffee or any of that so that I can sleep. I didn't even think of that. But all of a sudden I'm sleeping 6-7 hours straight, no waking up, no peeing in the middle of the night. And it's like, I didn't plan on that, but I love it. I didn't plan on my blood pressure dropping down to 113/63.
I love it.
But I love it. And now what's my new plan? My old plan said on the 22nd day, I'm having a steak and possibly a beer. My new plan is said, I like what's happened. I know what's happened, and I'm going to keep moving forward because I've learned to love it. Fear was the starting point without question.
85% of all vegetarians go back to eating meat. It is a proven stat.
I have no plan on being a pure vegetarian for my entire life. I will have bacon. There is no question.
Right. But
Bacon makes
here's the
everything
thing.
better.
You didn't try. You're doing.
but fear was the kickoff. But now that I'm doing and loving, and I've learned to love and enjoy it, and I'm grateful for it, that's what's carrying it forward into long-term change. I can't be fearful all the time that if I stop, it's going to become a phobia.
No, see, but you can't live in a constant state of fear. That's
Right.
not what I'm saying. Fear is a motivator.
Right.
Fear is a motivator, but you can't. That's why I'm saying you can't be afraid of. But you're afraid of maybe slipping back and having that meat and beer now, because there goes the blood pressure. So there is a fear there. You may feel good and enjoy it, and because you continually practice this habit, it stays with you, becomes part of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, 31. Here we are, March 31st, so 90 days, right, roughly into
First quarter's over.
First quarter's over, and guess what? Not an ounce of alcohol, not an ounce.
Hi, Melody Klein. How are you?
And what's it do to me? Yes, I feel the same things. As I said, you start seeing it, but I continually practice understanding if I want to drink or if I'm around a drink, I'm present. Why do I think I need this?
Right.
When I went to the bar last night, it was like, I don't even want it. I don't want it. Did the old fashioned look good? Absolutely. But I'm like, no, don't even want it. I'm okay. Water, and I'm good.
James had his first track meet on Tuesday. So he go up to the track meet. He does extremely well. He qualified for state on the indoor long jump, made it by like 1 inch. He ran his personal best 400 time at 53.4. We got in the car driving home, and the kid's like, I'm starving. So my daughter pulls over at Wendy's and gets him a bacon burger with fries and a chocolate frosty. And I can tell you, anytime I've taken the kids to the drive-thru and got them something, I got something for me as well. So I blame a lot of this on the kids,
Sure.
Because it was easy to do.
Right.
But that night, smelling it, it was just like, I won't say it turned my stomach, but it didn't turn me on.
Well, that's what I
So
say.
it wasn't like I have to have it.
McDonald's always smells good, but nobody leaves there going, God, I feel great after eating that. It always smells good. Ted says the change to comfort from fear is created from repeating the fear until it becomes a comfort. In most cases, everything you do for the first time creates fear. Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, that's different than being afraid or living in a state of being afraid.
Yep.
So, I'll go back to, I always say, if you want to Google what it is, fear has a different meaning, the word, than afraid. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I can, again,
Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or a threat.
Right. Which makes sense. The fear of God, the understanding that he is dangerous and can cause pain.
Yep.
Afraid, worried that something undesirable will occur to or be done. He was afraid that the farmer would send the dog after him. Well, they always got to pick on farmers.
So
Unwilling
it's
or
more worry.
reluctant to do something for the fear of the consequences. So fear is used in the definition of afraid.
So afraid involves more worry. It's more anxiety.
Right. It's the unknown. Fear is the known. Oh, false evidence appearing real. Face everything and rise.
Right.
Whatever, right? So you take a look at it and go, being afraid is that false evidence appearing real.
Right.
I've created a story.
Right.
Right.
You've created an outcome.
Right. I've
Right.
created an outcome.
That hasn't happened.
Right.
Right.
But every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square.
Yep.
Right. So
Right.
you are, but that's afraid and being fearful.
Right.
Is different than being afraid.
Right.
But how does that? I mean, the whole
You
point of
respect
today's
fear.
the whole point of today's show is to execute
Right.
on your detox.
Right.
So we got past the starting point, and we have about 5 minutes left in the show. How do we help someone execute their new life? Not kill their new life, but execute to do the things they need to do to follow through. That's a great way of putting it.
To what did we say? Execute what they practice.
Right.
So what I would see would be, from Kent's point of view, the fear is the understanding of the negative consequences of what will happen if I don't make this change.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's not being afraid and worried, but it's understanding, if I don't do this, here's what is probably going to happen, the negative consequences. Right.
And without that, we go, yeah, I'm okay.
Right. So I that makes sense. I
Yeah, I'm
understand
okay.
that.
Right.
Right.
And you just got to keep practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing. Professional athletes spend what, 90% of their time practicing and only 10% in game type situations.
Who was at the Olympics with Kobe Bryant? And he said, I'm going to get up and get to the gym before Kobe. And so he got up at 4:30, was at the gym at 5, and Kobe was already out there shooting.
Yeah, that was LeBron. You had D Wade and the other guy, Chris Bosh.
Chris Bosh.
I had to run through it, right? Hey, look at the good doctor. Dr. Casual Pitch, you should be chiming in here, brother.
Hey.
Seriously, look, and I even dropped his thing, face everything and rise, or, he is,
this is the acronym king. Give us an acronym, buddy.
That's it. So, and we'd love to have you on sometime, Doc, because this is exactly it. In order to execute what you practice, you just got to keep practicing. Get better at your craft, your skill. Get better, right? And then it just happens. It doesn't. You're not thinking, oh man, I should say this or do this. It's just going to come out of you, right? And you have to respect the fear of, if I don't make this change in my life, this is what happens. I would love to be a guest on this show. Very fun thinking show. Ted, Theodore, anytime, buddy.
Anytime.
Absolutely. And here we go. Focus, follow one course until successful. Focus. F-O-C-U-S. F-O-C-U-S. Yeah. Follow one course until successful.
Nice.
I tell you, this man is the king of acronyms. He's the king of a lot of other things too. Just on the cover of Forbes magazine.
Forbes, yeah.
This is, this
Forbes,
is
for real.
One of the.
And we can say that he got to start on
two bald guys and a microphone. Yeah, you're not
okay. It was before Mike. Right. We'll always take claim to that, Doc. So don't worry about that. But what is your take? You love people to write little feel goodies and do things. What's your take on how do you get people to execute what they practice?
The second step in my program is just do it. I mean, you got to do it. Once you recognize that you need to make some changes, you just do it. And as the founder of a big financial company back in the 80s, do it and do it and do it until the job gets done. Yeah. And then you got to do it again. And then you got to do it again. If time is an issue, you need to meet with someone like Mike here, because his physical training program is all about efficiency. It's not about spending 2 hours in the gym. It's about learning how to be the most efficient that you can be while you're in the gym. Right. But I think you've got to focus. You've got to identify the obstacles that are keeping you from achieving it. And then you got to figure out who can help you over those obstacles. Right? There's no major change that you're going to make in your life. I don't care how big you are, how smart you are, how educated you are. You're not going to make a major life-changing, life-sticking forever change without a mentor, an accountability partner, or someone else in your life who's going to help you through it. Because your own subconscious will take you down. It will cut you down. It will pin you, hold you for 3 seconds until you count out. And the final thing is you got to be committed. And not to a mental institution. Right. You got to be committed. You have to be committed that this change is going to happen, and you have to stick to it.
So listen, really enjoyed everybody tuning in. And of course, if you want to be part of the show, just reach out to us at two bald guys and a microphone at gmail.com. You can reach us at 216 the net. You reach Tim. Is it Tim or Coach?
Tim at Coach Papa.
Tim at Coach Papa, you got a 216 the net.
Coach Papa at 216
Coach Papa
the net.
At 216 the net. Kent at 216 the net. But here's the deal. Take a quick minute, the last minute here, to let us know about your program, how people can get involved in your program, because this is a life changer. So
it's on April 12th. If you go to Facebook, Tim, Coach Papa Stewart, or LinkedIn, Tim, and go to my events. You can click on the event. You can email me, Tim at Coach Papa. It's both live in the Cullum Knoll or it's online. And the simple concept is that it's the change before a judge, a lawyer, or your wife makes you.
That's it.
All right, and it's going to be life changing. It's 5 weeks, 1 hour a week of each week, helping to understand how you can be who you're supposed to be. Stop stalling on your calling, and let's move forward together.
That's it. Of course, tell him you heard it here on 21.6 The Net, and he'll charge you double. Listen, for all of us here,
We'll drink a double. You
that's
get
right.
water.
For all of us here at 21.6 The Net, thanks for getting caught in the net with us here this evening. Come back on Friday morning. Friday morning, we got the grounds with Giles and Jones. We got bridging civil tension. Got some good things to talk about there because there is a lot of tension. We might hear from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Some thoughts from the greatest of all time. And then we've got the neighborhood pulse at 1, and then we've got In the Know with Steph and Joe at 3. Big day tomorrow. Come back. Check us out. Go like, subscribe to our YouTube, to our TikToks, to all that social media stuff. Visit us at 216thenet at gmail.com or 216thenet.com or send us an email. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
You've been listening to Two Bald Guys and
Mike.
So blessings.